All right. Welcome. Find yourself a comfortable seat as always. So really building this um, position from the ground up. So thinking about where your feet are your toes in front of your heels? Are your knees over your ankles? Are your hips square on your seat? So maybe rocking side to side to find where's the middle, maybe rocking forward and back again to find where is it where your center of gravity feels like it's going directly from your head through your spine and down into your hips for a nice tall mountain pose. Sometimes we like to push our chin forward, especially if we're typing or driving. So thinking about maybe tucking the chin back a little bit so that the head is directly over the spine. And that can feel sometimes like you're leaning back just because we're not used to it. But it can help relieve some of the tension in the neck because it means the bones are doing the work instead of the neck muscles. So from our nice tall mountain pose, maybe we roll the shoulders up and back and the shoulder blades down the spine, and again up and back and down the spine. And if it feels okay for you, you can close your eyes. And if not, that's fine. Just lower your gaze, kind of make your eyes go fuzzy so that we can go inward and start focusing on the breath. So it's nice to breathe in and out through the nose where you can, but for example, for me today, I woke up with a little bit of a stuffy nose, so it's also fine to breathe through your mouth. The most important thing is to notice the breath, to be in the present moment, to observe where the breath is in your body today. Maybe you can feel it in the chest as the chest rises on each inhale and sinks on each exhale. Maybe you can feel it in the ribs as your rib cage expands and the intercostal muscles between each rib allows the ribs to expand on the inhale and then contract on the exhale. And maybe you can feel the breath in the belly. So take a big, deep inhale, feeling the belly expanding outward, letting the diaphragm help the air draw into the bottom of the lungs. And then letting the belly sink on the exhale, letting the diaphragm do its work to expel the air all the way out. We'll take another nice, deep, big breath into the belly, letting all of the air come in, filling the lungs. And then exhaling nice and slow, letting all of the air out of the lungs. And we'll do one more like that. Now's a good time to set an intention for your practice if you like. So bringing to mind a way of being that you would like to cultivate or something you're working on. It can be self-compassion. It could be simply to follow the breath. It could be to try each pose with an open mind. We're a new body every day, and sometimes it's easy to fall into the habit of getting disappointed with ourselves if our body is behaving in a way that it didn't used to behave or that it didn't behave yesterday. But it's a new day. So go in with a beginner's mindset and cultivate whatever intention feels right for you, and then let it off into the universe. We don't need to hold those too tightly. We can let the universe help us conspire to bring that intention into our life. And then we'll work with another breathing pattern today. We're going to do some continuous conscious breathing. So connecting the inhales and the exhales. You can take this as slow or as quickly as you like. But when you get to the top of the inhale, let there be no gap immediately going into your exhale. And again, this can be as long or as slow or as quick as feels good in your body. But as soon as you get to the bottom of your exhale, immediately going right into the inhale. No gaps at the top and no gaps at the bottom. If, for whatever reason, this breathing pattern or any of the poses I suggest today don't feel good, assess, try it. You're like, no, this isn't for me. That's okay. Just go back to watching your breath, take a break, come back to that tall mountain pose, feet on the ground, hips in the chair, head over the spine. But if you're able, inhaling right into the exhale, exhaling right into the inhale. And we'll stay here for a moment. I'll keep the time. Take your time, but at the next exhale, after all of the air is out, just allow your breathing to return to normal, whatever your body feels like doing. And just observe, what does that feel like? Is there any area in your body that's still a bit tense, a bit tight? You're feeling any discomfort? Breathe into that area. See if you can release any tension, even by a little bit, even by 1%, by sending your breath there. And then we'll slowly start into our asana practice by tucking the chin to the chest, feeling the stretch down the back of the neck, maybe into the upper back, down the spine. Thinking about getting tall, and then rounding the cervical spine, the top of the spine, getting the chin closer. And then looking up, finding something new to see on the ceiling, putting a little back bend in your spine, going the opposite direction. Maybe you press your teeth together very lightly to feel the stretch down the front side of the neck, getting tall, feeling proud. And then slowly making your way into our cat pose, rounding the spine, tucking the chin to the chest, maybe pressing into one hand into the thigh and then the other hand shaking out the elbows a little bit, moving in this cat a little bit, seeing what feels good in your body and your spine. And then when it feels good, slowly making your way back into cow pose, letting the sternum come forward, the shoulders go back, looking up, seeing something new, putting a little back bend in your spine, gently closing the teeth together to feel the stretch down the front of the throat. And then we'll move one breath, one movement. However quickly or slowly you want to go, that's fine. Coming into your cat pose. Inhaling into your cow pose. Don't have to match me. It can be much quicker or it could be much slower, whatever feels good in your body. Putting some movement in our spine. We don't often do a lot with back bends during the day. Often we do a lot of forward-facing activities. So putting a little back bend is a really nice way to add some movement that's going to keep our spine young. We'll keep our back flexible. We often say motion is lotion in yoga. And the more we move our joints, the more we move the fluid between the joints, the more the joints are happy to move the way that we want them to. So moving little and often is always better than doing a lot at once and then sitting the rest of the day. So the more little movement breaks you can add in, even if it's just getting up and getting a cup of tea or standing up if you're sitting a lot during the day. All right, and then at the end of your next round of cat-cow, come back into a nice tall seat, wiggle a little bit if you like, and then we will do a little self-massage on the neck. So starting right kind of behind your ears almost, and just find the places that feel a little tender and give them a little bit of TLC. And then you can work your way down the neck with your fingertips all the way to where the neck meets the shoulders. Sometimes that spot is really tender for me, so just hang out in the spots that are tender. You can also do one at a time or double up on the hands if you need more pressure. But self-massage is a really easy way to release some tension, and as long as you're listening to your body, there's really no way you're going to hurt yourself. You just have to listen, see what feels good, just find those spots that are you feel a knot. You can just, even if you're not rubbing or massaging, if you're just putting a little bit of pressure and breathing into that space that's tender, sometimes that can even release a little bit of the tension. All right. And if you like, you can work your way back up the neck if it feels good to give yourself a massage at the temples or where the jaw connects. That's another space that sometimes gets really, really tense. And feel free to rub your hands through your hair and give yourself a little scalp massage if that feels good to you today. And this is another easy way to just incorporate a little bit of mindfulness into your day. It doesn't cost anything, takes a minute, and I think it feels pretty good. So, all right. When you feel like you've had enough of that, we'll do a little bit more with the neck. So we've gone forward and backward, and this time we'll do a little bit of a twist. So looking to the right, using your eyes to guide, the movement of the head to the right, we'll see, okay, where are we right now? How far can I go without any assistance from the hands? And then use your eyes to look behind your right shoulder and see if you have gotten another tiny little bit, even a little half centimeter in that twist. You can stay here, or you can use your left hand on the left side of the jaw to see if you can add a tiny bit to your rotation, but again, only to the point that feels safe, that feels good. We're not cranking the neck or going beyond our limitations. 80% is good in yoga. We want to make sure we can keep the breathing going. We want to make sure that nothing feels belabored or too tough, or you want to stay as if you could stay in this position for many, many breaths for a long time, that it's comfortable. And then on your next exhale, you can let that left hand come down if you were using it, and then use the eyes to guide your head movement to turn to the left side. And again, we'll start by just looking over the left shoulder, seeing where we are today. How far can you rotate your neck without any assistance? And then use the eyes to look beyond the left shoulder and see if you have another maybe half a centimeter in your rotation that you can add. Maybe you stay here, this is enough. Or feel free to add the right hand on the right jaw to give a little bit extra, not too much, just to feel the stretch. Again, taking care that you can still breathe here, in and out through the nose, where you can. And feeling comfortable, like you could stay in this position for a long time. And if it doesn't feel comfortable, come out a little bit, untwist, or remove the hand. You've got the power. Find what feels doable, what feels comfortable in your body today. And at the end of your next exhale, if you're using the right hand, you can take it off the jaw, and then we'll slowly, using the eyes to help, which helps avoid dizziness and vertigo, we'll come back to a nice tall seat. And this time we'll bring the right ear to the right shoulder. Breathing into the left side of the neck. This might already be enough. You can also experiment with pushing the left hand away to change the stretch. Making sure you can still breathe. Again, if it gets too intense, just come out of it a little bit. This already feels pretty intense to me, but if you're looking for more, you can gently rest the right hand on top of the head. We're not using the hand to pull the neck, but just adding a tiny bit of weight can increase the intensity of the stretch. So feel free to do that. But like I said, I already feel this in my neck, and I'm going to stay right here. And then if you do have your left hand stretched away, you can bring it back to your left thigh. And then we're just going to rotate the chin down as if you're looking at your pocket, which changes a little bit where the stretch is still on the left side. Thinking about getting tall and looking down. Breathing the whole time. Sometimes when a stretch feels really intense, we stop breathing, and that's kind of the opposite of what we want to do. We always want to be mindful of the breath. So again, if it gets too intense, just ease out a little bit. And then we'll roll the chin to the chest and come back to a nice tall seat so that we can do that little sequence on the other side. So bringing the left ear to the left shoulder, seeing how this feels. You might already feel this on the right side of the neck. If you want to intensify the stretch, you can press the right hand away. And again, experimenting with how far away or even how far forward or how far back that hand is can change where you're feeling the stretch. So see what's best in your body this morning. And again, if you did it on the other side, try it over here. If you want to rest the left hand on top of the head, again, we're not using the hand to pull the neck. We're just adding a tiny bit of weight that can help intensify the stretch if you want to. Of course, you definitely don't have to, and I'm going to stay right here. And then if you've decided to use your right hand to help increase the stretch, you can bring it back to your right thigh as we rotate the head slightly to imagine you're looking down at your pockets. I don't have pockets in these leggings today, but if I did, I'm looking down my side body, feeling the stretch still on the right side. Still breathing in and out through the nose. Still thinking about getting nice and tall. And then on your next exhale, rotating the chin to the chest and coming back to a nice tall seat. And we'll do a few more shoulder stretches, starting just with some shoulder rolls, and these can be as small or as big as you like. You can get the elbows involved if that feels good, or if you want to get really big, you can get the whole arms involved, going in one direction. You might hear some pops or some clicks, and that's always fine as long as there's no pain. If something hurts, stop doing it, but if you're just hearing a little bit of movement in the joints, that's okay. And then we can go the other direction. And again, these can be really small, or you can involve the elbows, or you can involve the whole arm. It's, your choice, whatever's calling to you today. You can put the hands on the shoulders if that feels good or easier. It's kind of up to you. Great. And then we shake it out. And we do a little bit of work with the wrists, going in one direction. I'm going out first. Some people like to go both the same direction, which I find a little bit challenging. And then we'll switch to the other direction. Get the fingers involved, opening and shutting them, if you like. And then we'll stretch the right hand first. So make a big stop sign and using the left hand to pull the fingertips back, feeling the stretch, possibly in the fingers, also in the bottom side of the right wrist. And you can make this less intense by bending the elbow and more intense by really pressing the palm away. And then we'll flip, so fingertips towards the ground and using the left hand to gently pull the hand towards the bottom of the wrist, feeling the stretch on the top of the right wrist. And then shake that out, and you can do the thumb separately if you like, pulling the thumb towards the wrist, because I find that the thumb doesn't get the stretch when I do the fingers. So that might feel good, and it might also feel good to give your thumb a little massage on the that big spot right at the base of the thumb feels good, and so does the triangle between the thumb and the index finger. That can also be a good spot for a little bit of self-massage. And then we can switch to the other side. So putting big stop with the left hand and pointing the fingertips back towards your nose, feeling the stretch on the underside of the left. And then switching with the fingertips towards the ground, using the right hand to pull the hand a little bit back towards the wrist, feeling the stretch on the top of the left wrist. And then again, if you did it on the other side, bringing the thumb separate to stretching out the thumb a little bit. And then we'll give the thumb a little extra love, a little self-massage, that triangle fleshy bit between the thumb and the index finger, and also that big thumb pad at the base of the thumb right before the wrist. That's another great place to give a little TLC, a little self-massage. Lovely. And if you like, you can interlock all 10 fingers to roll the wrists in one direction and then the other direction as quickly or as slowly as you like. Doesn't have to match my tempo. It's whatever feels good. And we'll do a few stretches where keeping the fingertips interlocked, pressing away, rounding the spine. And then bringing the arms up overhead and letting the arms come down by your sides. And we'll do 2 more like that, interlocking the fingertips, pressing the palms away, and then looking up at the hands as they travel towards the ceiling, as if you're putting handprints on the ceiling, separating the fingers, letting them fall away by your side, and 1 more at your own pace. Lovely. All right. Check in with yourself, see how you're feeling. Any areas that are still tense or tight, breathe into them. Give yourself some grace. The hard part is showing up. So whatever happens from here on out, you've already done the hardest part. We're going to move into some sun salutations. So of course, sun salutations can be done standing and on the mat. We are going to come a little bit forward in the chair so that you have a little bit of room to widen your stance a little bit. So for me, the most comfortable position, I've got my ankles directly under my knees and my toes out at about a 45-degree angle. So see, okay, where are my knees and where are my toes? Because sometimes, they're not always aligned. And we'll start just by doing a little bit of twisting. So dropping the right shoulder, looking over the left, and then dropping the left shoulder and looking over the right. And you can do whatever variation of this as quickly or as slowly, whatever feels good to you and your back. Feel free to drop really low down if that feels good, or to stay up higher, whatever you like. Just again, moving into a little more of the hips and the back. And then we will press into the heels and lift the toes up. And let the toes come back down and press into the toes and lift the heels up. And then let the heels come back down. And we'll do that 1 more time. So pressing into the heels and lifting up the toes, even if they only lift a tiny bit or not at all, still thinking about the toes deeply, or maybe one side is different than the other. That's fine. Just thinking about them lets the nerve pathways light up. And then pressing into the toes and lifting the heels. And then we're going to do, we can let the heels go down. All right. This is going to be, could be a challenge for the brain. Press into the right heel, lifting the right toes, and press into the left toes, lifting the left heel. Okay, so we're doing we're opposites. And then we're going to switch. Press into the left heel, lift the left toes, press into the right toes, and lift the right heel. And then we'll switch again. And you can do this as slowly or as quickly as you want to, or as your body and brain wants to. Switching between toe and heel, toe and heel, toe and heel. Nice. And as always, if this doesn't work for you, then go back to what we were doing before. It's totally fine. You can do one at a time. All right. And then coming back to a nice tall seat, feet flat on the floor. We'll do a half sun A. So sweeping the arms up overhead and bowing and folding over this wide-legged forward fold any amount. This is the first forward bend we've done in this practice, so you might want to take it easy here and breathe into the low back and see how the low back feels. Dropping the head, shaking the head, no, 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 and nodding, yes, yes, yes. Breathing into the low back and seeing if there's more space. You might have another inch to come down. Letting your head hang heavy. If it feels good, you can interlock. You can grab for opposite elbows and kind of rock left to right a little bit. If that doesn't feel stable, that's fine. Stay where you are. And again, this doesn't need to be fast. It's not a race. We're simply observing the breath and seeing how our body feels. You might push into the right foot as you come over to the right side, and push into the left foot as you come into the left side, feeling how the weight shifts. And then letting the hands drop. If your hands don't touch the ground or you feel the ground feels really far away, you can use a brick, a yoga block, or a book, or anything really, or you can have your hands on your shins or on your thighs. And then we're going to come to a tall spine, a flat back, thinking about pulling the head towards the wall in front of you, and at the same time pressing your hips to the wall behind you. Really elongating the spine, the neck, the upper back, the lower back. And then bowing and folding and seeing if there's any more space. All right. Then we're going to, from our forward fold, press into both toes, lifting the heels. That is so much tougher for me. And then pressing into both heels and lifting both toes. Coming back to flat. We're going to do a twist to the left. So looking over the left shoulder. If you like, you can reach for the ceiling with the left arm. Totally optional. And then coming back through center and switching to look over the right shoulder and lifting the right arm up towards the ceiling if you like. And then coming back to center. All right, we will walk our hands up the legs, or you can use your abs to bring the hands up overhead and hands to heart center. And we'll breathe here for a moment because we were just in an inversion for quite a while. So if you're feeling at all dizzy or lightheaded, just breathe into your body. See if once your heart rate settles a little bit, see how you feel. Get a drink of water if you need. And then we're going to use some of those same poses in our vinyasa practice. So inhaling, the arms up overhead, and exhale to bow and fold over wide legs. Inhaling to a flat back, so you could have your hands on your shins or your thighs or the block. From here, pressing into the toes, lifting the heels, pressing into the heels, lifting the toes, setting the toes down and twisting to the left, bringing the left arm up high, returning the left hand to center, using your abs or walking the hands up, bringing the arms up overhead, and then right into the other side, bowing and folding over the legs, pressing into the toes to lift the heels, pressing into the heels to lift the toes, setting the toes down and twisting to the right side, bringing the right arm up overhead, left hand on the block on the floor or on your legs. And then returning the right hand to the center, walking the hands up the legs or engaging the abs to bring the arms up overhead, palms touch, thumbs to your sternum. Breathing here. Take a little break, watching the breath, seeing where the breath is now. And then we'll do the same thing with our ankles and knees together. So we were in a wide stance. Now we're going to be in a more narrow stance, and we'll see how this changes things. We'll see which you prefer. There's no right or wrong here. So inhaling the arms up, and exhale to bow and fold over the legs, pressing into the toes to lift the heels, pressing into the heels to lift the toes, and then we'll twist to the left side. I'm using my right hand on the left ankle. You could also bring the right arm across the left thigh and use the elbow on the outside of the thigh. That's fine. It's whatever feels most comfortable in this position. And then returning the left hand will lengthen the spine, a nice flat back. Bow and fold even more over your legs. And then engage the abs or walk the hands up the legs all the way up. And then we'll go straight into the other side. Bow and fold over your legs. Press into the toes to lift the heels. Press into the heels to lift the toes. And we'll twist over to the right. And again, you can use the left hand on the outside of the right ankle or beneath the knee, or you can extend the left arm so that the left elbow is pressing into the outside of the right thigh. Any of those positions, whatever feels comfortable to you. And then we'll come back into our forward fold. lengthening the spine, pressing the hips away, imagining the head coming forward to the wall in front of you, and then bow and fold. One more time. Shake your head yes and no, and then engage the core or walk the hands up the legs all the way up overhead, palms touch, hands to heart center. Lovely. And then from here, if you want to wiggle or shake or do whatever you need to do, adjust. Lovely. We do a little bit more with our hips and our ankles. So do take care, but we'll start with the left today. And I'm going to start in a figure 4 position. So crossing the left ankle over the right knee. You can also cross at the ankle and open the hip this direction. That's fine. But I am going to manually rotate my ankle in one direction and then the other direction. So if you're crossed at the ankle, that's fine. You can always rotate the ankle without the use of the hand, or use another like a strap or something to assist. Again, if you're hearing any pops or clicks, that's fine as long as you're not feeling any pain. And if you haven't switched directions yet, you might like to do that. And then we will point and flex. Again, I think this is easier to do with the help of your right hand, but of course, if you want to do it without, that's fine too. I can feel a stronger stretch on the top of my foot when I help it out into a stronger point, and I feel a bigger stretch in my toes when I am using my right hand to help flex. Great. And then as always, we were doing some self-massage on the neck, some self-massage on the hands. We can also do self-massage on the bottom of the feet. And it's the same idea. Find a spot that feels tender. Find a spot that feels like it could use a little bit of TLC. You can put a little pressure there. Or you can make little circles with your thumb. You could make a fist and use your knuckles. There's no real right or wrong way to do self-massage. As long as it feels good, it's very unlikely that you're going to cause yourself any harm. So you'll probably end up feeling really good. The fascia on the bottom of our feet can get really stiff, especially if you're someone who wears shoes a lot. So stretching the bottom of the feet, either through massage or through using a tennis ball, or just even practicing walking around barefoot. It's a great way to help release some of that fascia. Great. All right, let's do a bit of hip stretching. So we'll sit up nice and tall. And you might already feel this. This might already feel like a lot, but you can also lean forward a little bit to help light up the left hip. You can use the left hand, but use it on the fleshy bit on the thigh, not right on the joint. And with every inhale, think about getting tall. And with every exhale, think about hinging forward, even if it's minuscule, even if you can't even tell. So think about inhaling tall, exhaling fold, inhaling, getting tall, exhale, fold forward, inhale to lengthen the spine, exhale to fold that tall spine over the leg. And we think about a tall spine because it's actually very protective. So in this position, if you have a rounded spine, you can probably, looks like you're coming forward more, but you might actually be more vulnerable to pulling a muscle in your low back, which is not the point at all. The whole point, right now we're stretching the hips, and you might feel this in the outer upper leg on the left side. So yeah, keep your back nice and safe. And then we can do a twist on this side. So coming over to the left, looking over the left shoulder. And then coming back through center and to the other side. So letting the left foot come down to the floor. You can march it out if that feels good, or windshield wiper your feet or your legs. And then get your left leg to be the strong root pressing down into the heel, into the toes, and crossing the left ankle over the right ankle over the left knee. Or of course you can do this with the ankle crossed at the left ankle as well. So we'll rotate in one direction. Again, as much motion as we can get in our joints will make them more supple, more flexible, more able to move in the ways that we want them to. And then going in the other direction. And then we'll point and flex on this side. And again, you don't have to use the left hand, but I think that I get a better stretch on the top of my right foot when I'm pointing with a little bit of extra help. And when I'm flexing, I can feel it in my heel, in the Achilles, which is great. But when I use my left hand, I can also then feel it in my toes, which is really nice. It's a nice feeling. So going back and forth at your pace, 5-10 seconds each of pointing the toes and flexing the toes. And just as we did on the right side, we can do a bit of self-massage over here. So for me, it's always the arch of my foot that is particularly tender, but for you, it might be somewhere else. And you can simply just hold the foot and apply pressure to the places that feel sore or tender, or you can massage in little circles. You can make that fist and use your knuckles, whatever feels good, because it's so unlikely that you're going to cause yourself any problems. So just be ask your body what it wants and see what you can do. See if you can make yourself feel a little bit better. Lovely. All right. And then we'll do our figure 4, imagining that the right knee is very heavy and sitting up nice and tall, and then hinging forward any amount. And it might be imperceptible. You don't need to fold forward very much to often feel that right hip and right thigh light up. But we are going to protect our lower back by thinking about getting really tall on the inhale and hinging forward any amount on the exhale. Getting tall, hinging forward, getting tall, hinging forward. And breathing into any tightness on the right hip, right outer thigh. And we'll come into our twist on this side, so coming back into a seat and walking the hands over to the right thigh, looking over the right shoulder. Again, still getting tall on the inhale, but this time instead of folding, we're twisting on the exhale. Inhale to get tall. And exhale to twist. And then coming back through center. Take your time. There's no rush. We'll uncross the legs. You can stretch them out however you like. Maybe you want to march. Or maybe you windshield wiper the knees and the feet, or whatever feels good. And then we'll get into any other pose you want, right? So if there was something that we did that we didn't do for long enough, or if there's something we didn't do that might feel good in your body today, take the next minute to move your body how it wants to move, to do whatever it is that feels good in your joints, in your muscles. Or maybe you're already ready to get into a final resting position, which is fine. That's fine too. You might be like, no, I've done enough of my asanas, in which case you might want to grab a pillow or a blanket or put on an extra layer. That's fine. And then you just watch your breath. You might want to lie down. You might want to lean back. Whatever it is, it's fine. But if you're ready for your final relaxation, you can close your eyes if you feel comfortable with that, or you can, again, lower the gaze, look at one point of focus, make your eyes go fuzzy. There's infinite ways that we can go inside, see what's happening, find the breath. Where is it now? Can you feel it in the chest? Can you feel it in the ribs? Can you draw the breath all the way down into the belly? We'll do 3 big breaths like we did in the beginning. Inhale, using the diaphragm, filling the belly, filling the lungs. And then a nice slow exhale. Exhaling out all of the air from the deepest part of your lungs all the way out. And when you need that next breath, inhaling a big, full breath, filling the belly, letting the diaphragm help draw the air all the way into the bottom of the lungs. And then exhaling fully out, letting it all go. And then one more in your own time. And letting your breathing return to normal. Coming back to the intention that you set at the beginning of your practice. Imagining that intention is so ingrained in you that it just becomes a part of your daily life. What does that look like? How does that feel in your body? How does your intention feel emotionally? How does it feel in your mind? And we'll come back to the conscious connected breath, inhaling, letting the inhale turn right into the exhale, no gap at the top. Letting the exhale turn right into the inhale, no gap at the bottom. Breathing as quickly or as slowly as you like. Connecting the inhale to the exhale. And then letting the breathing pattern go, returning the breath to whatever feels good. And we Wiggling the toes really gently, almost imperceptibly. Bring a tiny bit of movement into your fingertips, into your hands, into your feet and ankles. Acknowledging your lower arms and your elbows, maybe moving them just slightly. And your shoulders, your upper back. Acknowledging your calves and your shins, your knees, your thighs and your hips, your belly and all of the organs that help keep you alive, your heart and your lungs, your chest, your neck, your face, your head. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes.